Ladies, gents, and everyone under the sun, welcome back to another episode of the Container Podcast, episode 18. With me tonight, my man Kyle. You weren't patient enough, bro. You're too eager.
Sorry about that.
So, Kyle, as I said, Alex.
What up? What up?
Yeah, with the delay, but you balance each other out.
Exactly.
And you, Jackie.
Yo, what's up?
The star, the MVP, every single episode.
Yes, we're very excited to be back. It's been a while since we've recorded an episode, so yeah, I'm very glad we're doing it today.
I am too. Today, it's gonna be incredible, boys. We're gonna talk about a series that span in the about the range of 3 or 4 seasons. I already forgot.
Yeah, 4 seasons.
4 seasons. I always confuse them being between Avatar: The Last Airbender and this one.
I see. Yeah.
But it comes from the same people that made that series, the legendary Avatar: The Last Airbender. You guys recommended me both, and I missed it during my childhood. And after watching Avatar, I knew I had to watch Korra too. So that's what I did recently.
Yeah, and I'm very glad you did because there's a lot to talk about both series. I mean, it's funny because we're going to talk about Korra first, and I think eventually there will be a Avatar podcast. But for now, I think there's a lot to say about the what's it called? It's a sequel. It's a sequel to Avatar, even though there's it's not the same story. It's not all the same characters. But it's still in the same universe, and it's just the next Avatar. If you guys are familiar with how it works and what's the the Avatar mechanic.
I think we'll have to explore all of that a little bit more as we go in the podcast. But yeah, it is officially the sequel.
Yeah, I'd like to give out a shout out to Endeavor that is in the chat. So I think he's saying hi to you, Momo.
Hey, what's up in there? I've been looking at these notifications on Discord. I'm sorry to leave you hanging, but it's for the purpose of the podcast. I'll come back to you afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's maybe start with what we did with the Devil May Cry podcast, which was a little exploration on the creators of the series. So I don't know if we'll do a podcast as long as the one on Devil May Cry, but I think it deserves its time. So I think we will do it justice. And to begin, I want to talk about the legendary Michael Dante Di Martino. Little,
Dante,
Dante, and Brian Konietzko. Both of these guys are the core team that built up that universe, that story. They are the writers, the creative forces behind it. They met while studying at Rhode Island School of Design, and they're fans, both of them, of properties like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. And the duo really wanted to put a new spin on the genre. They had a mutual love of epic fantasy, Japanese anime, kung fu cinema, and Eastern philosophy. And all of these elements served as an inspiration for the two, for the most, people say, the most thrilling, emotionally complex, and beautifully animated adventure ever. Avatar: The Last Airbender plus its successor, The Legend of Korra. Would you guys agree? It's one of the most thrilling, emotionally complex, and beautifully animated series?
I can get behind that.
Yeah, in my opinion, I mean.
Yeah, you guys don't want to step on each other's toe, but I think you gotta go in, bro.
That's what's happening
You
right now
gotta
with
go
one
in.
speaker at the same time. But yeah, I think for my part, I think you guys all know that I grew up with this series. I remember watching it every Saturday morning. Um, you know, I, the first episode that I saw on TV was episode 3 of the Last Airbender. So I was early on watching the show when it aired, and yeah, I just have great memories of it. And as I grew older, it just became this routine of watching it 2 or 3 times a year. And then I slowed down a bit because it was maybe too much. And then right now I just like watch it uh, one time a year because it's such an important show in my life that I've enjoyed since I was a kid. And every time I rewatch it, I just it's like going back to that time, and it's just rediscovering these characters in this universe, and how it's such a great series, and it's so well done. It's so well written that every time I go back, it's never too much. I never get tired of it.
I think I understand you, man. As a fan of Dragon Ball, I always go back and read the manga because the anime is a bit too long. It's not as concise as the series we're talking about today. But it's good to know that this series gave you the feeling that Dragon Ball gave me. And I think everybody needs to have a work of art that inspired them or influenced them as much as these two series influenced us. Would you guys agree that it was pretty influential for you growing up?
Avatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jackie there, I grew up on it there. I remember Saturday mornings. It was the last show on YTV in the Saturday morning cartoons. It was at 11:30.
Yeah.
And I remember I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start watching the the cartoons. And I remember that if we had something that day and I couldn't watch it, I'd go in fucking mental breakdown. And my grandmother, what she would do is we had an old wall. In that time it was a new TV, but now it's an old TV, and with the VCR recordings.
Yeah.
So I would record it, and it was just like you had to program it. Okay, so from this time to this time. So I would record the whole morning, and I would hope to God that it didn't fail. Because if it failed, and it has happened where it failed, fucked. We can't do shit, right?
There's no
Because
video on demand.
I didn't have internet. I only started having internet when I was 12 years old. So, in that time, there was no way for me to rewatch it. So I would be like, well, shit. So I remember I had missed in Avatar 1, the episode with the big owl in the library.
Yes.
Yeah.
I missed that one, and I remember rewatching that one, and I remember missing at the end of the first Avatar when Zuko and Aang, they're fighting the big dragon. There's two dragons there,
Yes.
like some firebending. Those two episodes, I've never ever, those were when it failed, and I remember rewatching it in the beginning of high school when they came on Netflix for the first time, and I rewatched it. I was like, what the fuck is these episodes? They're so weird. Like I was baffled. I didn't understand.
And you were like, now I make the connection, the dots. I can see it.
Yeah, because one episode, they're out of nowhere, they're talking about a fucking comet. Where the fuck does this comet come from?
Bruh, the kids these
Or the-
days will never understand.
The eclipse, not the comet. Or both, I forget. Whatever.
So, as you said, it's the owl and everything. They come back to the Legend of Korra. Like, in due time, they reuse a lot of that universe they created in the first series. And today we're gonna explore that sequel. A sequel that really tried to distance itself from its predecessor. Because, as the creators said, they didn't want to tell the same story twice. Even though some fans would have say they would have liked them to do just that. Would you guys think that they did the right call, or would you have liked to have something more similar to the first Avatar?
I
be
think they
honest-
went. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Okay, yeah. To be honest, I feel like the main reason why I like Korra so much is because it's a continuation of the universe of Avatar. So after watching Avatar, I wanted to see more. Maybe not more of the gang. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have mind seeing more of the gang, but I just wanted more from the universe. And you're right, and I feel like Korra does deliver that.
You were about to say something, Jackie, too.
Yeah, well, it's just I think it's great that they reuse the same universe, and you see a lot of the characters from the last Airbender in the Legend of Korra. But what I really appreciate is that it's very different from what we saw in the last Airbender, because of course you've got the same universe, but the story that they're telling is very different, and it's not this whole big adventure like the last Airbender. It's these four segments of story that each have something to tell, but that are ultimately connected. But it's very different. So I really appreciate that, and that to me is one of the strong points of Legend of Korra, because you cannot tell the same story twice. And I think a lot of people were expecting maybe uh, you know another Avatar classic journey, learning the elements and facing one big enemy and
Yeah.
retelling the same story. But if it were that, I don't think it would have been. Maybe people would have liked it more, but I don't think I would. And I think the people that are enjoying Korra enjoy it for it being different.
Yeah, definitely. Some people said that they connected a lot more with the Legend of Korra series than the Avatar: The Last Airbender in terms of message, in terms of characters. A lot of people said they couldn't really relate to Aang, but easily could relate to Korra. So I think
Yeah, because
it's
it's
not.
a different stage in life. It's not the when you're a child and you're watching the Avatar: The Last Airbender, you can relate to Aang because he's a child. But when you look at the Legend of Korra, it deals with more adult subject, quote unquote, because it's not that adult, but it's teenage years, and it's later on in your life. It deals with other stuff.
Exactly. And as we said, it marked the separation with Aang very, very clearly from the first minutes of episode 1. You saw some people trying to meet the new avatar that was born into the world, and they were searching, doing door to door. And when they came to Korra's house, they found a little kid that was already has mastered how many elements?
3 elements. When they meet Korra, she is already able to firebend, earthbend, and waterbend. So there we go. Like you say, it's a complete separation from the previous story. The writers are telling us this is not going to be the same thing. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do this again.
Exactly, like you understand it from the get-go, and I really appreciated the structure of the series, as you said too. I don't know if you guys knew, but the reason why the seasons are structured as they are is because they pitched them as standalone 12 episode miniseries, so that it could be good for by its own, right? It didn't need the others to stand. And
Well, not. I think what you mean is that if you're watching like one season, you can get the picture. But of course, like every season, if you want to get fully season 2, and you have to watch season 1 and
of course, but
etc.
if the show abruptly ended on season 1 or on season 2 or on season 3 and you never saw what was next, you would be pretty satisfied.
Well, I agree with you with season 1 and 2, but not with season 3. I mean,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it ended with that, I would be pretty messed up. But yeah, sure. I get what you're saying.
So, it would be very, very sad if we ended on the Season
You're
3
seeing
dropped.
my girl Korra in her wheelchair, looking like shit.
So I don't know how you guys want to take it. Do you want to go chronologically in terms of seasons, talk about her adventures, and or just go straight into it? Like, oh, my favorite season was this one because of this reason.
I mean, it was the homework, so people know, what's the story and everything. So I think for this podcast, we can go ahead and just start with your impressions, actually, Momo, because we saw Korra. I think all of us a long time before you, since we were a fan of the Last Airbender for a long time, and we recommended the Last Airbender to you, and then you watched Korra. So I really am excited to hear your opinion on that, and then discuss your different point of views.
Well, okay, it's gonna be a very fun time to discuss because it's a series I missed out on my teenage years, on my childhood. I watched it in early adulthood, so I would say that in terms of storytelling, it does a great job. Really, I think that after watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, my expectations were very high, very, very high. And knowing the public discourse around the Legend of Korra, knowing that many people hated the series, I don't know why it was more of the hate that I saw than the love. Because now, after having finished it, I can see the fans that really loved the series. But before, I could see mostly the hate. I can't agree with the haters, bro. I just can't. Even the quote unquote worst parts of it to me are done in very good taste and are meant to say something and to add to the story, to add to the characters. As I said, there are fans of Eastern philosophy. We could see it very often in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And some people might say it's a little bit more Western in this Legend of Korra, but still, I think we can make some parallels between Korra and Zuko as characters that will speak to people in a certain way. It's not at all the same story, but I feel like it piggybacks a little bit on the types of emotions that it makes people feel. The struggles, both both of the characters that they go through, the search for identity, the quest to, like, they have so many weaknesses, right? But at the same time, so many strengths too. And to see them have that inner struggle with everything in life that is so much bigger than them as an individual and trying to find their place in this world, right? It was really cool. Zuko was not the main character, but since Korra is, I felt like it was a lot more personal. And throughout season 1 to 4, Korra was my favorite character. I really loved the girl. I think she's a beautifully written protagonist. I think people are delusional if they hate her because they simply don't understand or want to understand the message that's behind her, where she comes from, where she's going, the multiple people she met, how it changed her perspective on life. It's very, very fun as a series, even though it's not as childish. Maybe it's more, it still has that humor, right? I think.
Oh yeah. To me, I think the Legend of Korra is funnier than the Last Airbender.
I think many people would agree,
I would
myself
agree to
included.
that too,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Like I said, many themes were developed in the series through every season's antagonist. Let's call them like that for the moment. but season 3 was my favorite personally. In terms
Season
of
3. Yeah.
in terms with Zahir. To me, Zahir is probably that universe's best character. They did a fantastic job with Zahir and Korra. So those are like my two. If I had to like take two, those would be the two I'd take for
But
MVP.
if you had to rank the seasons, could you do it?
Yes, I think I could. I think I could. You would have to help me out though. So season 1, Amman and the Equalists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, Unilak and the Spirit World.
Yeah.
Season 3, Zahir and the Airbender Nation and the Anarchy, right?
Yeah.
And season 4, Korra against the military.
And female Hitler.
Yeah. I forgot her name, but it's gonna come back.
Kuvira.
Kuvira, yeah. So, in terms of ranking...
She's played by Zelda Williams.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, voiced. I should
Yeah,
say voiced.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you see, in terms of, in order, the introduction to the series with season 1, with everything it brings, pro banding, Mako, Bolin, like, there are so many elements, Tenzin, his children, like, it's so good to me as a stepping stone into the series that I have to rate it highly. Season 2, I enjoyed it, but less than season 3, which was my highlight. So, in terms of top 1, it's either season 1 or 3, but I would take 3 because it stands on the laurels of season 1 and builds up to that point, and also 3 would be my favorite. Then 1, then probably 4, and then 2. And it's really tight because it feels bad to say this season was the worst, but you know, that's how a top works. You need to rank them.
Yeah, I know. But I would like to ask everyone: do you think there is like one bad season of The Legend of Korra?
Personally, when I think about a bad season, I don't think any of the season really is defined like that, to be for me anyways. Season 2 is a bit more boring, I'd say, but it wasn't bad. Like I do think the spirit world, that whole plot with the brothers too, right? Her dad and her uncle, I think.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting for me too. So yeah, I didn't think season 2 was bad per se, but it was the weaker of the whole Korra series, right? So
I would agree with you too, Alex.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that season 2 is like, it's not our favorite. Me when rewatching it, I enjoyed it more than the first time because, like you said, I was not really interested in the whole spirit world plot. But the war between the two water tribes, the north and the south, and the the character of Varric.
Oh,
That is that comes in with his movers and his battleships and his inventions and Julie.
Varric is the Elon Musk people think acts like, right? Like, he is actually a genius. He's not just prancing like Bill Gates or Elon Musk, who had other people do the work. He does it,
Well, we have to give a lot of credits to
Julie,
but yeah,
of
you're
course.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I loved a lot, Bolin going in, becoming an actor, and the relationship with Korra and Mako becoming more and more awkward is also pretty funny. So there's a lot of great moments in season 2, but yeah, I would have to agree with you. It's not my favorite one.
I would say that upon rewatching it, I do think season 1 and season 2 are kind of the same in terms of quality. It's just the plot, like which one was more interesting for you. Like I do feel like season one, its plot was more interesting than the second, but in terms of quality, in terms of just overall how we perceive it in terms of quality, I do feel it's kind of the same.
But what do you mean? What do you mean by like quality?
I mean that in the vaguest sense, right? Like in broad terms, just quality in terms of like, oh, okay, this is a good season or this is a bad season. You know, that's what I mean by quality. And I do think that season 1 and 2 are kind of the same. Maybe season 1 edges a little bit above season 2, but to me, I don't think it's that much higher in terms of quality.
I see what you mean. And since we agreed that no season is bad,
That's
I
what
can
I'm
see
saying.
it.
Since
Yeah,
no season is bad, yeah.
I can see it.
I
Like,
do think season 1 is cooler or maybe more interesting because of the antagonist, right? It's the first antagonist you meet. I think he bloodbends, right? That's already interesting, right? So
yeah, that's crazy.
since Avatar, that's crazy, exactly. So for sure you were gonna be captivated by that.
He does two
As
crazy
Chris-
things. He does something that we only saw Aang ever do, which is
True.
removing
The
bending from
removing,
people.
That's true.
And another thing that was also very crazy, as you said, was the blood bending, which is so rare that we only knew before then of two characters maybe that blood bended. Katara
there
It
was
feels like a
only,
myth in the show, you know.
Yeah, there was Katara and Amma in the last Airbender,
There
and
you
they,
go.
they could only do it during a full moon.
Yeah, and that was the most crazy thing. Like they had a boosted version of blood bending where it could be used anytime.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Amon versus Unilak, which one did you prefer? Which kind of philosophy spoke to you more? I think it depends on the people. Amon is a little bit more down to earth. It's about material equality, pretty much. And Unilak is much more spiritual, right? It's the spiritual world. But at the same time, it has a twist because he was doing some dirty plans to remove his brother from succession as a leader and then take over the southern tribe too. So you have some power struggle there too, not only spiritual things. So
Yeah,
I don't think
definitely.
it's a throwaway season. Yeah, I really don't think season 2 is a throwaway season.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, we forgot about one Avatar 1 and all that in season 2.
Yes.
That-
There's.
That's why, in my opinion, if my rankings would be 3, 1, 2, 4.
Interesting.
I find 2 everything with the villain, everything. I agree with you guys that I find that he's not the best villain. It's a bit boring. Blah blah blah. Right. There's one thing of that I really dislike of how you call it of Korra, and it's the advancement of technology in it. I know I just find it so weird because it's just like the first episodes were so much how you call it
Down to earth.
this like medieval, not medieval, but like feudal Japan or something, like in my mind.
Yeah.
And then now they have fucking big mecha giant robots.
Yes.
I hated that with a passion. I couldn't stand that shit at all. And so that's and I find that little throwback of the first Avatar. I love that little story. So that's why, in my opinion, number 2 is better than the trashness that is the fucking robot there.
I'm telling you, man, I think I might change camp, man. I think I might join you on that point.
It's unfortunate that, like I said, I don't understand why they put that big robot there. I think it soured a bit me, Korra. That's why I find that the last Airbender is just so much better.
But you mean like the big ass one that Kuvira like made?
Yes, yes.
But
Okay,
not
yeah, that
only.
one.
I think you hated everything related to mecha, flying mechas.
But anytime there was this super advanced, like even like I know in the last Airbender, it's not out of nowhere, right? Because in the last Airbender, what they had that big drilling thing that went for bossing Say and stuff like
Yes.
that. So it's not like technology wasn't there, right? But it's just like I don't know if you've ever seen like in Naruto, like it went from this like they're walking on with fucking sandals and everything, and then next thing they have this high technology with communications and shit, and you're just like, where the fuck did that come from, right?
Oh
And
yeah, the radios and everything.
Yeah.
yeah, and I find it just like there's just a certain charm to having a world without technology, right? Especially when you have these powers and stuff like that, and it just shows how people, like I'm not talking about Naruto, but like with scrolls and stuff and eagles and stuff, and then now they have telephone and cell phones. You know what I mean? I find
Yep.
it breaks the magic a bit, and and what I hate big giant robots like that. Like for example, the movie there that just came out there, Godzilla. They had to put a big fucking mega Godzilla robot dude,
Hey,
and it's just like why, like there was no point of that, and it's just anyways.
it's cool, bro. Don't you
Yeah,
understand?
that's what I feel like. It's just people going, it's for the style. I don't know. It just it soured a bit for me, but it's still a great season. I love number 4. I love all the airbenders coming back and stuff. I really enjoyed that. Well, no, that's number 3. Never mind. But in number 4, it you see them in action. Those I even like the little kid there that what's his name? Kai? No, is
Kai,
it?
Kai.
Yeah, Kai. Yeah,
Kai, yeah.
I liked him. I found he was enjoyable.
I mean,
But
he has your name in his.
yeah, kind of. But anyways, like I said, I think I would have really enjoyed season 4 better if it didn't have that big robot.
I mean, I get you. You're the guy that hated on Attack on Titan for having technology, so
Yeah, exactly. Same fucking point.
you know, I can't say much more than that. So let's move on to the next point. We might need to talk about something important in terms of storytelling. Would you say that this series has antagonists by the proper definition?
Yeah, definitely.
You would, Jackie.
Yeah, definitely.
I think some of them are pure antagonists, and but I think they always tried. I think there's 4 clear antagonists, right, for Korra. However, I think you're able to sympathize a bit with some of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand,
Exactly.
you hear their motivations, and you go like, okay, I don't think you are right for what you're doing. There's some people who are just living their lives. Why do you need to go and take their bending away, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of understand where all 4 of them are coming from. I'm going like, no, it's a bit hard to refute. But if not, I think they're clear antagonists.
Okay. Would you say that they are villains?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think they have the ideas, but they go about it the wrong way.
Okay. That's just because I want to get most of your thoughts out before I come through with my boy Brian Konietzko's take on that.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready to hear about Jackie and Alex.
Yeah.
Point.
Well, Alex, you can go first.
What did you ask already?
Do you find that the people that were portrayed as the main antagonists in the series were villains?
No, I think I like the villains a lot because yeah, I there are somewhat relatable. Yeah, I do agree with that.
So you would say that they don't really qualify as villainous.
I'm trying to think if, I mean, isn't that spirit kind of villainous?
Yeah, but it's not the main one, right? It's more Unilak.
Right. Right. Okay. I guess if we don't consider that the main villain, then yeah. I guess if Unilak is the main villain of that season, antagonist, I mean, of that season, then yeah, I wouldn't say he was villainous, but
Yeah.
he was close to it. He was kind of close to it.
Now to finish the table, the turntable, or I don't know how to say it in English. Jackie?
Yeah, no, I think some are definitely villains. I don't think they are at the same level. All the antagonists are not, the same level of villain as the others. To me, like Kuvira is, I mean, Kuvira and Amman are understandable. Zaire less, but still a bit. But for me, no doubt that Unalak is batshit crazy and should be put in jail, and he's like total villain. Because I mean, we'll talk about it afterwards. But I mean, he tried to free like the fucking Batu from his prison and become the Dark Avatar. What do you want more from a guy to be a villain? To become a Dark Avatar and have 10,000 years of darkness. What the fuck is this?
That's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. So,
So yeah.
my man Brian, what he said, it was a brilliant interview conducted by Polygon, the website that does mostly gaming stuff that we know of. But they did one with the creators, and one of the questions was, Book 3's villains here feels like he's one of the boldest choices in the series. He sounded reasonable then, and today he's echoing a lot of what we hear from activists who want to see change in the world. Was it a challenge to put him in a position where Korra had to question and defeat him? And does Zahir play differently now than he did then? They're like, you guys were visionaries. You saw some crazy bullshit way back. And Konietzko responded, the feedback I have consistently heard from fans is that Zahir really messes with their heads, because the thing he does are so awful, yet they feel he makes some really good points. And I think he knows what he is doing is awful, and he doesn't necessarily enjoy it, but whatever happened in his mysterious past was painful enough that he has accepted that it was necessary. That's why he's definitely one of my favorite villains that we've ever created. I think he's a big part of our creative point of view. I think a big part of our creative point of view is to explore the gray areas in everything. Especially in our villains, we try to look at all of our characters as people first, then as heroes or villains second, or perhaps more accurately, protagonists and antagonists. If a character is simply evil and aware of it, then that's really static to me. It is far more dynamic and realistic if a character believes they are on the right side. One of the things that resonated with me so deeply about Princess Mononoke was how there weren't any villains, but rather people with competing interests. That wasn't a perspective I was seeing in Western animation at the time, but that struck a chord with me and the kind of stories I wanted to tell. My man Brian Konietzko, he knows!
Yeah, well,
That's a hell of an interview.
yeah, well, referencing a masterpiece like that gets you points. Not gonna lie.
What did you guys think about his take? About the process of writing, the process of going about it as people first and then as heroes or villains?
See, that's why I think I really do enjoy Korra, because I find, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender, you have almost Hitler. You know what I mean? It's like evil of all evil. There's no, like, the guy is just evil. You know, he burned his son. He hates his daughter. You know what I mean? It's just like you have this evil.
Crazy
There's
emperor.
there is gray, right? Throughout the world and everything, but apart from that, you don't have it. It's this big bad evil, and the show grew up right with Korra. I find it's like it followed the people that watched Avatar when people were watching it live, kids, and it grew up and it's starting to tackle more poignant stuff. Not more poignant because I don't think Avatar: The Last Airbender didn't, but just not as black and white as before. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
there's some that go like and I find it's a much more older and cartoon than Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Would you guys agree that it's way more in playing into those gray areas and nothing is really black and white compared to Avatar?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You can see it right from the start that like Kyle said, I mean, the Fire Lord, um, you know, you can try to make excuses for him, but he's pretty much evil. You cannot, he's not really redeemable. But when you look at the characters in the Legend of Korra, you can see that they're different, not only in their motives, but afterwards, once they're beaten, they you know there's some kind of reflection of on what they've done, and they're kind of thinking about what they've done, and it's not as as black and white as in the last Airbender, as Kyle said.
Anything to add, Alex?
No, no, I would pretty much say the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
because my big example is that at the end of the fight between Korra and Kuvira, Kuvira, she surrenders, and she's like, the Avatar, she saved my life, and I was wrong doing whatever, and then she goes to prison because that's what she deserves. But there's, like, as I said, there's some kind of reflection on the actions that they have done throughout the season.
Very well said, Jackie. You did an excellent overview on that topic. Would you guys want to take the discussion in a more specific place, or we continue on those?
I want to I want to talk about that. It just flashed when you guys were talking about it there
Mm-hmm.
about the little episode with the first Airbender. I found that episode was one of the best of the whole series, even the last Airbender included. I love that episode so much, style wise, just the way it presented like a little folklore story. Like just I don't know. I found it beautiful. I wonder what your takes are.
You guys would have to remind me of that episode. I kind of forgot.
With
So
Juan there when he learns how the first Avatar gets his powers. He talks to the big
Turtle, yeah, lion
turtle and
turtle.
stuff like that, and so on. No?
And then he meets the people on that other turtle that are airbenders, right?
Exactly, and then he meets the good spirit and stuff like that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Jackie, you were about to say something.
No, but it's to me, I find it very nice because it explains some stuff from the last Airbender, because in the end it's an origin story, so you can see where it all started, where does the elements come from. It explains also how the lion turtle taught Aang how to remove the bending, and kind of give it back also, because Korra at the end of season 1, she's able to give it back. So it kind of explains a lot of things that were in the mystery at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very enjoyable. But more than that, as Kyle said, there's like the art style is pretty beautiful also. But the story of one is not what I expected. I thought he was going to be this great guy that I think it was going to be a classical story of the great guy that was noble enough to earn the power and be this kind of you know
The force
if I
for
may say
good,
this
yeah.
yeah, this force of good, and this you know this prophet-like figure.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really not. It was like this thief, this poor man that didn't live an honorable life in the sense of society, but that was pure-hearted enough to you know earn this power and to fusion with the light spirit.
Yeah.
What's her name? Brava.
Rava.
So yeah, it was not what I expected. So I really enjoyed it, and there was a lot of exposition and everything, but in the end, it was a great addition into the series.
I would double down on that. I think the series is better with Avatar 1 story than without. I really think it added a lot to the universe, even though the creator said that the concept of the lion turtles and everything was pretty much set in stone since 2003. So that was clear
Wow.
in their mind.
Damn. I didn't know that.
But Avatar 1 story, like the exact things that happened were developed more as time went on, right, for Korra. But the philosophy behind the lion turtles was pretty much set in stone in 2003 when they were making the test pilot. So that was like, hey, would you want to buy this series from us, please? They were said no so many times, guys. That
For
makes
real?
that makes you really wonder, like, what if they gave up? I'm glad they didn't.
Thank God is it Nickelodeon, right? That picked it
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was telling them, nah, we already have something like that. And they just tried again. And then when they came to Nickelodeon, they kind of changed a little bit their strategy and asked what the network was looking for. And they pretty much listened and tried to make it work, right? And they accepted. And we have what we have.
Yeah, well, thank God, because for real, I think it's, and I think it's also, I found a nice gateway because it's Western, right? But it's also anime-ish. You know what I mean? It's like
To me,
the
it's
way
an
the
anime, bro.
exactly right.
No, it's
So
not.
To me, it's an
So-
anime, bro.
so
It's not.
it's an anime without the cringy dialogue that sometimes they have, right? That
Bro, there was some
Attack on
cringe in
Titan.
this series too.
for sure, of course.
But it's
I guess-
not the Japanese trademarked cringe. That's what you guys mean.
exactly. I don't know. I find like I don't want to get into it because I'm gonna anger some people. But for example, like a comic relief. The cabbage guy,
Yes.
right? Oh, that's funny and everything. Now you have like an Attack on Titan, the stupid one that eats fucking potatoes and shit. Like I find it's like similar kind of funny, like trying to act funny with like a produce or something, and just like
Yeah.
one completely fails and the other one is like meme worthy, and people are, till
Still
this day.
using, still using the cabbage man.
I think it's just that I'm so used to Western,
Where
like,
did you grow up, bro?
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I can't fault it for finding sometimes. But anyways, what I was gonna say is I find it's just like a lot of people started watching this and then finally decided like, damn, this is actually fucking dope,
hmm
and slowly were introduced to the world of anime that even if I find sometimes cringy, I do still enjoy.
Okay. I think we're gonna stop talking about that because I'm getting angry, and we're gonna move on to the way Avatar Aang solved the problem in his series, which was removing bending from Emperor Ozai, Fire Lord Ozai, and the way that this exact power is used by the antagonist of Book 1 of the Legend of Korra. And the fact that something that was used for the good is now used for bad can be explored and used. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys ever see it coming? Like, since Aang had such a terrifying power that it could be used in that sort of way in the future, right? Like Amman did. How did you guys feel about that when it got revealed that it wasn't a joke? The guy actually could do what Aang did, and he was doing it not for the Fire Lord, but for every bender in what was it called? The city?
Republic City.
Republic City. There you go. So yeah, Aang, his solution, right? His decision. Was it free of any consequences? It inspired somebody, if you saw it.
Well, it inspired, but somebody would have figured it out at one point, I guess. But it's Aang had to do it because Fire Lord Ozai was way too dangerous with his bending.
And
but
he didn't want to kill him.
Yeah,
that respected his values.
Beauty. Oh yeah, that's the whole beauty of The Last Airbender. We'll come back to that one day. But yeah, I mean, it's when you have a great power and when you apply justice to somebody that you can say that is evil or that deserves it. Of course, it's well regarded. But when it's for innocent people, which the benders are, because it's some of them have used it for the wrong reasons, but it's it's this whole idea that it's not up to Vigilant. He's in the city to make the rule, to be judge, jury, and executioner in the streets. You have to leave it up to justice. So even though at first he was taking away the bending of the triad people, it's not that bad because these people they're not being they're doing illegal stuff and they're terrorizing the people in the neighborhood and they're doing illegal activities and whatever. So it's not that bad. But in the end, his project was to take the bending of everyone away. So
yep, that was the new extent of his project.
So yeah, I mean, he's a bad guy. You cannot let him do this because some innocent people are going to get punished for something they haven't chosen. You don't choose to be without bending abilities, but you don't choose to be born with. So,
but it makes for an equal world. No, that's what's beautiful about it.
But I don't know if it's about equality, because this is the whole hypocrisy of the discourse of the equalists, is that they're saying they want an equal society, but Amman is a bender and he wants power. So I don't know what he's talking about his equality and everything, because he's a water bender, he's a blood bender, he's a gifted water bender, and I mean, he wants to take on the leadership of Republic City. So I don't think it's about equality. I think it's about power. It's a power struggle.
I think that,
in my opinion,
he excludes himself from the rest of the population. He's like, I'm gonna make everybody equal. If I escape that fate, if I don't remove myself, right, from those abilities, it's not a problem. It's just me, right? But at least it's everyone else. So everyone else in the society can be equal. I'm just gonna step away. He never said it, but he probably wouldn't. He probably would abuse of his power. But it's just fun that such an neutral ability that you can remove power bending to somebody. Can be used as Aang used for the greater good, or for terrorizing people by using it widespread, every bender, kidnapping them and removing what they
Well, I
were
mean,
born with.
it's it's almost a rule of the world. You can whatever tool you can use for the good, you can always use for the bad if you're creative enough. And sometimes you don't even have to be creative because the paths are drawn for you. You just have to follow them.
Pretty much. That was the beauty of book one to me. I think not only, but for Amon, I think it was a pretty good discourse about equality.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. And it gave this incredible antagonist to start the series with, and he was charismatic and he was terrifying, and he had good motives because yeah, like you said, he wanted equality and that's what he preached. But yeah, then there's like the background problems.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about a season that we don't talk much about, and it's season four. I think season four, as I was talking with you, Jackie, outside of the podcast, a couple of now months maybe. It's been so long. Um, it explores something that I wasn't expecting in a series for kids, and I'm talking about PTSD. What did you
Yeah.
guys think about season four and its treatment of Korra's mental struggles?
Hmm. I don't quite recall PTSD though. Could
Yeah,
you explain?
I think Momo, you could go ahead and tell the vibe that you were getting because I share that vibe also.
Okay,
You know.
so just for the people that maybe don't see it, or it's been a while since you've seen season four, the book four, Korra has been infected with that nasty poison Zahir implemented into her to force her into the avatar state. And once he eliminates the avatar in the avatar state, the chain is broken.
Right. Okay, I remember that. Oh my god.
Yeah, so he got her strapped up under the surveillance and threat of many very gifted benders, and they had crazy special abilities to shoot shockwaves and like explosions from telepathically or something. Just like in season one, there was a guy that was able to do that. He was an assassin too. That group that Zahir assembled got their hands on Korra, strapped her up, poisoned her, and tried to force her into the avatar state and eliminate her. And you could see the parallels into some nasty shit that the real world has, where we we do things against the will of people, and sometimes it's illegal, sometimes it's not, but it's not really the topic. It's mostly about what's left of the person. Let's say we call them survivors. Those survivors, they went through some very traumatic stuff, and it's not gonna go away just like the band of villains who got locked up. That trauma is not gonna get suddenly erased. It has to be treated, and you could see her physically. She lost a lot of muscle mass. She was in a wheelchair. She lost everything that made her love life pretty much, and kept that scar, that mental scar in her. And I think that beginning of season four was very underrated. So I just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts about how if you felt it transcribed PTSD well, if you didn't see it maybe, and now that you see what I mean, what are your thoughts? So yeah, go ahead, guys.
Now that you explain it that way, yeah, I do kind of see it the same way. Underrated, I agree with you because honestly, I didn't really notice it. So I guess the way I viewed the beginning of season 4 was just a continuation of the third one. So I never really thought of PTSD or the sort, but it's a beautiful way to see it. Yeah, so I do agree with that.
You think it
I
was
think it
well
was
done?
I think
Well
it was pretty
executed?
underrated. Yeah, I think it was well executed. Now that you explain it that way, yeah.
The way that she like exiled herself and
Yeah,
she dealt like, remember all the scenes she had with Katara that was trying her best to help her, but
right.
she came to the point where sometimes it's not the external help that's going to do any good. It has to come from within. And it was like repeated again with Toph when she went into that forest, that jungle.
Right.
Mm.
I guess what my focus on season 4 was pretty much Kuvira, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think she captivated my attention a whole lot more than I think the. I mean, I now that you talk about Korra, I do remember noticing how Korra was sad most of the season.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, Kuvira really did catch my attention a lot more on Korra's last season.
I can totally understand. It was a captivating character.
The
She was
antagonist, yeah.
extremely charismatic, motivated, powerful. It was insane. Like it was a character like, and a female too. You know, many anime works of fiction would portray this character as a man, but they did it with a woman and very convincingly. So I guess I understand why she really struck a chord with you. I don't
Yeah.
know if Kyle is there, if he wants to talk about the PTSD part.
No, I mean, personally, I've never had PTSD there, so I can't really mention on how accurate it is. But again, it circles back to my point that I think it's a much more older show where, I mean, I think Aang did suffer, like, when he lost, the thing on his back or whatever there when he was,
Yeah.
I
Not
he got
only
hurt.
that, he lost his entire race, so that's pretty
Well,
sad
that
too.
too, right? But no, I agree that it screwed her up, and a lot of times you're saying, "Come on, like snap out of it," but at the end of you're realizing that no, she had so much on her shoulders when you're the Avatar, right? You have so much pressure and everything to to be that big savior, right?
Mhm.
And now she's lost a little part of herself, and she doesn't know if she can go through for the rest of it, because I think she lost her connection to the spirit world, right, or something like that.
Yeah, she like there was a clear cut between like her bending, the spirit world. Like it's like she became another person.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
and I think it just fucked her up a bit,
A lot. I think Jackie can bounce back on that.
Yeah, because I think it's not only that she was weak and sad all the time, but it's also that at the end of season 3, when she's poisoned and they try to kill her, she manages to save herself and to beat Zaire and to put him in jail. But the trauma that she suffered from almost dying, you can see the repercussions in season 4, and that's what's beautiful about the storytelling, is that even though she managed to survive, it sticks with her, and she's not able to liberate herself from it. And even though when she goes to see Toph and she manages to extract the metallic poison from her body, when she faces Kuvira the first time, she loses, because as soon as she enters the Avatar state, even though there's no metal in her, there's still like these Zaire and his hoodlums trying to kill her.
Zahir,
So she,
Amman, she remember Unilak. A lot of times she came very close to losing her life or to, she
yeah,
had.
but I think with Zaire it was worse because she was almost in the Avatar set, and she was thinking that she had failed the Avatar legacy.
I
And
can agree with you on which one felt worse, but I think it's a compounded effect that, like, you can add up
you think?
the weaknesses she felt when Amon nearly removed her bending, or did
Yeah,
actually,
because
when
I agree because
Unilak almost deleted her soul, when
No, you're right because I mean, Amon, I remember clearly that she was, fucking terrified of him at the start of the season, and when he took away her bending, it just like broke her. But when she got her bending back, I was like, oh, okay, maybe she's past it.
Mhm.
But with Zaire, I feel like even though she managed to put him in jail, she was so close. She was so close from death and from ending the legacy of the Avatar that it completely broke her. And the whole journey of season 4 is not only beating Kuvira, but it's surpassing this this mountain of difficulty that is PTSD.
Yep, I really felt it, and it spoke a lot to me. Even if I'm not a survivor of a very traumatic event, it just seemed very real, and I think that the authors spoke to actual survivors and to their stories to inspire themselves with Korra's, because I don't know how to explain it, but you were talking about breaking the link of the avatar. Unilak destroyed the communication aspect of Korra with her previous lives. That's pretty big. As I said, Amon removed her bending. Many moments, crucial moments, for a girl like her that thought she was invincible. No girl, no man could touch her. She was too good at bending. She was athletic. Anything you could dream of doing, she could do. Nothing could
Yeah.
stop her. And then those moments of weakness, of extreme vulnerability, it stuck.
Yeah, I think now that you mention it, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just like in every season she comes
He
closer and
fails.
closer
Yeah.
to you know ending her life and failing as the Avatar. And in season 3, she comes so close that she has SD
It's
for the
just too
remaining
much,
season.
right? It's
Yeah.
just the in French we say, no, I think I know it in English too. The drop that makes the nah, bro, I forgot about it.
The straw that breaks the camel's back.
That's the one I was searching for. In French, it's about water and glass that makes it overflow, but yeah, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. So
So yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That's why to me season 4 is really good. Like Jackie was like, you'll see, season 4 is good, but I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how it ends. I don't know. I didn't know anything about big robots converting roots of spirit trees into energy and things like that. I only knew about Korra's struggle to get past that PTSD,
Yeah.
and
Same here.
episodes like Korra alone, and I was like, bro, this season is gonna be fire. I was really sure that it was gonna be the best.
Well, actually, I rewatched it at the same time as you, and when I rewatched it, like in my mind, I was like, okay, season 4 is not going to be good. And I started watching season 4. I was like, damn, this is dope. And then as the season goes on, I'm like, oh my god, this is good, this is good, this is good. And and what's the problem with season 4? To me, the problem with season 4 is the ending. I don't like the ending because it has a big responsibility, since it's not only the ending of the season, but it's also the ending of the series. And I really don't like the ending. I don't like how it ends.
Because there is a promise, man, that we'll have new series.
Yeah, but okay, well, I mean, when I saw it, I wasn't thinking of that, and when they wrote it, they were not thinking of that. So I think we can go ahead and talk about it right now. But what did you think about the ending of the series?
I thought that
Because to me, it's the weakest point.
it explored what was her name? Asami and Korra's beginning romance very well. I think it was really, really good, man. And yeah, man, it was very progressive, and people are right. They saw through the they read on like in between the lines. I really like that ending.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched it again, and to me, it just comes from nowhere. It still comes from nowhere. I watch it every time. I'm like, what the? Every time I'm like I don't mind it. I'm not like, oh shit, what the fuck is that? I'm just like, okay, all right, whatever.
I
But
mean,
like,
she
no,
was
to me,
there all alone, man. She wants to go on a trip with someone she enjoys a lot, and I thought it was pretty good.
yeah. All right, okay, but like, okay. Like this is like the ending,
Oh,
like
okay,
the
okay.
last scene.
You didn't want to talk about that specific final
No,
scene.
no, it's not like the final scene. It's not like that ending. That ending would have been fine if the rest wasn't shit. And
Oh
it's
shit,
it's like
he's
these
going
last
in.
episodes when Kuvira just arrives with her fucking robot, and you know what it finishes? It finishes with what's it called? The drill, the episode The Drill in The Last Airbender. It's basically the same thing. It's like, okay, we gotta find our way in, we go in, and then we have to fight the bad guy. And it's so anticlimactic how she the robot falls, and then Kura runs into the leaves garden or whatever. The leaves have surrounded the city, and now they're going inside the city, and there's like this big park. And then there's there's like the cannon from the robot hanging in a tree. And the way it's hanging, it's pointing directly at Korra when she enters the garden, and there's just Kuvira jumping on it and being like, "I'm going to shoot you with this right now." I know that previously I wasn't a fucking robot and I was commanding it with electric
Like
commands, and now I'm going to shoot it with whatever. I don't know how she shoots it. Like it's an
there is
actual
an
gun.
imaginary trigger.
Yeah. And then she shoots, and then it just goes up in every direction, and then Korra with the avatar states is able to stop it. I don't know how she does it
I was
because
impressed. I thought Korra would die right there and there.
yeah, and then there's like this atomic explosion, and there you have a new spirit portal, and that's the end of the series. I don't know. To me, I was like, this is fucking shit. Close the TV. I don't want to hear about this series again. Then I rewatched it and I liked it, but I know it's to me it's a disappointing ending. I was expecting more.
You guys expected more? Was it disappointing?
Like I
I don't
said,
recall it being disappointing. Oh, sorry, Kyle. You could go ahead.
no, but go ahead, go ahead.
I I don't recall it being disappointing, but um, I didn't I didn't understand what the ending wanted to say either. Like, what was the point of opening the spirit world?
What was the point? What was the meaning? Hmm.
I mean, you have
Especially
these
since
two
the show
characters.
wasn't supposed to continue, right?
Yeah,
Well, I think it's just that they didn't want to leave it on a sour end, right? That to just
It was
I
like
think
a happy ending sort of thing.
it's not a happy ending, it's a bittersweet ending, right? Where I think it's just like Korra changed so much, and she became like, I think she was overcome, her difficulties from the beginning of this season, but I still think she's still not where she was in from the beginning, right? This happy-go-lucky person that is just. I think she lost that a bit of herself, and then they take away one of the biggest things there, that she doesn't have access to her past lives anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that.
Right.
And it's just that's rough, right? Like imagine you being the avatar, and it's like, yeah, there's been hundreds of avatar, and
And
you're the
I'm
first
the
one
I'm the
that
only
broke the
one that
fucking limit.
fucked up.
Exactly. So it's a bit like, but at the end of the day, I think that them re-putting it is them saying like, hey,
Maybe she didn't fuck up after all.
maybe no, not that maybe she didn't fuck up, but maybe people like, well, that was my opinion, like, oh, maybe she'll be able to reconnect with her old avatar self. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
It's not this like boring ass like.
I really didn't see it like that, but it could be cool. I mean, to me, Korra, like what it meant to me was that even like if the worst kind of shit happens to you, you have to keep walking forward and looking toward the brighter side of things. And I don't know, man. I think it's gone, bro. I don't think she will ever be able to.
I feel like that's what happens to her, to be honest. Yeah, I think she's gonna be the avatar that she's gonna be the first avatar of the cycle, right? Of this new cycle of avatars.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it's good, Alex. Yeah, as a hypothesis, I think it stands pretty much
Whoever was the first avatar, I think you said it was Avatar 1, right? Is that
one.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think now she becomes that new first avatar, right? In this cycle.
Yeah, could be that.
I like the hypothesis personally. I
But
also,
that's where the portal opening kind of confuses me, because I'm not sure if that's what it meant, or if it meant that, oh, maybe she does become with the avatars.
I
Well, I
don't think we can be
it
sure.
meant exactly that. I'm just saying that there's a possibility that it is.
I don't know what they meant with the portal at all, but I do know what they wanted to show in the mech fight, and Kuvira, and why she shot that big gun she had in the forest. It's because she was consumed with her power, right? She was so angry. She was so ready to do anything to unite her nation and take back Republic City, because it was an old Earth territory. How do we say the Earth Nation territory? Yeah, it was ex-Earth Nation territory, and all. We know the story of season 4, but that's the kind of character we were facing, and how do you deal with such a massive shot straight into the ground and make a spirit portal out of it, because the shot was made of spirit energy.
Yeah.
I mean, it
don't
kind
know
of
about
makes sense, but I don't know.
No, it makes sense. It's not out of the blue, but I was expecting more. I was expecting something different. I was expecting maybe something more classical. I don't know if it's just because they wanted to go with something original, but I mean, I would have been fine if with a classical ending there of just a final fight between Korra and Kuvira, and she gives up, and she's put in the same situation where she has to save Republic City from the disaster of Kuvira's technology, but not that way. Not with the gun hanging in vines
To
in the
me,
middle of Republic City.
to me, it was a way also of Korra saving Kuvira, and to let that character have that moment and realize that she was about to do a massive mistake. She did a massive mistake. As you saw when she mentally gave up and surrendered, I don't know. I felt it was very believable. Like the previous scene set it up well. You would have preferred to have a one-on-one battle and she gave up? I don't know.
No, but I think I would have preferred that.
Yeah, you don't like big mechs, but if you don't have big mechs, you don't have Hiroshi Sato in his mech flying, doing.
Like I said,
my daughter.
It's not about.
I'm sorry. Get out of this. And she's like, Dad, no, don't do this. And then he pierces through the armor and dies like a fucking hero that he is. So that
like
the other
a fucking mosquito, man.
people can go in and dismantle the big mech from the inside.
Yeah,
what a scene, man. What a scene. They had to kill him, bro, and he had to die a hero. What would you have written else?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess
it
he
was,
had to die a hero. Yeah.
yeah, to be redeemable, he had to die.
Yeah.
Poor Hiroshi Sato. But yeah, to yeah, it just to me like the part where it just got me rolling my eyes. It's just when the gun just ends up facing in the right spot.
Yeah, you're like Korra is walking and she's like, Kuvira, where are you? And she's pointing the big ass gun, like 5 stories tall gun, hanging by
Yeah,
vines and with
I'm
some kind of trigger. I don't know.
and then there's like this dumb Kuvira. She's like, I'm going to shoot you now. She's like, she's thinking that she's going like, I'm going to shoot you. I'm like, girl, Korra just has to move like 1 or 2 feet like towards you, and you cannot even aim with that fucking thing. What are you going to do? You cannot achieve anything with that shit. You're just going to destroy everything. You
Yeah,
didn't
but
think this through.
that's the power of anger, man. You don't think, you just do.
Yeah, but that dumb fuck. I mean, she was able to conquer the whole fucking Earth Kingdom, and she's not able to shoot one like she's not able to shoot at the fucking gun and to think that it's going to destroy everything around. Oh man.
If I can't have this, nobody can.
You know, often when we speak about storytelling, you're like, I'm like, the ending is so important to me because it is possible for me to enjoy a show very much, and if the ending sucks, it's going to stick with me, and I'm going to be, uh, you know,
Forever salty.
yeah, forever salty. Yeah, basically, that's why I freak out about Attack on Titan in the ending. You know, that's one of the reasons that I'm like, if the ending is bad, this is going to ruin my life, and this is what Korra did to me. I was like, I was enjoying the show so much, and the ending was so shit that I was like, you know what, this whole fucking season is fucking garbage. And of course, when I rewatched it, I was like, well, it's not true. Like, the season is pretty good. It's one of the best up until the final.
Yeah, the final was really not that good. It really wasn't that good. I know that as someone like me that likes action, and I got bored of it. I was like, bro, I
Yeah.
really don't like that giant stuff in the city blasting lasers, and it's kind of slow because it has to be realistic, right? It's a big metal piece of tech. But I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I really enjoyed that battle they had, one on one. A couple of airbenders on one side and a couple of thousands of military forces backing Kuvira, and they were like, "Don't intervene. That's between
Yeah.
us."
I mean, yeah, it was good. It was good.
I think a scene like that for a final scene would have been really good.
Mm,
But there is
yeah.
no teamwork in that, you know?
Oh well.
I don't know if you guys have thought about, I don't know, random stuff. Maybe my man Hyro's appearance in the show. What did you guys think?
Oof.
Was it done tastefully?
Oh yeah. What an emotional scene.
Do you guys even like Hyro? Like, let's be real.
What?
No, I
What
don't.
kind of
I'm
question?
not talking just to you. No, I know
There's no
you're.
one here that doesn't.
I don't think there's anybody that hates Iroh, to be honest.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, you never know, man. We might have a contrarian in that
No.
specific question.
Can I say though that seeing Iroh reminds me how, well, first of all, when I go back and rewatch Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Hmm.
I can't jive with its humor anymore. And
It's done.
when
It's
I
like
saw-
a thing of the past for you.
it is a thing of the past for me because I think it feels more childish, for lack of better words. And seeing Iroh again reminded me of that sort of humor, of that sort of vibe from Avatar. And I'm so glad that Legend of Korra is different in terms of humor, in terms of, I guess, maturity as well, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
The level of maturity in terms of storytelling as well, right? When things aren't black and white anymore, they're more gray. So yeah, seeing Iroh again, it was done very tastefully. He wasn't overstaying, right? His welcome.
Yep.
And yeah, and it also made me realize just how different both TV shows are, and yet so similar because they're of the same franchise, I guess.
What about you, Kyle? Did you enjoy Hyro's short-lived appearance?
Of course, I liked all the throwbacks. I liked all the characters that kind of came back there. You know,
Yeah, I really
from
liked
Katara to
Sokka being there, man. It was amazing.
Rip.
Fuck, man. I didn't know. I was waiting for him to come through.
Big rip.
You know, often we were, when we were walking and you were like, "Oh, I hope I'm going to see Sokka," and I was like, "Nah, man, he dead, bro."
I was like, yo, that's Sokka. While they were doing a trial for, what's his name? Amman's dad, I think.
Yeah, your cone.
Yeah, so I think he was there, right next to Aang.
He was
and,
there, yeah.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
he was
yo, that's the first time I've seen him or heard his name. Must be the start of something big, right? Nah, bro, I think that was the only time we ever saw him.
Mm.
But you know, we got Toph, we got Katara, we got. I think Aang was there a lot for a dead man. I was
True.
pleased with his. Yeah,
True
what did
that
you
he
guys
was
think
there.
about Aang? The way he aged, his project with Zuko, and Zuko also. What they did.
I enjoyed it there. I found it was pretty good.
Like I know you find it pretty good, but I wanted a little bit more. Like, did it make sense for you? They went that way in terms
Yeah,
of
but I did.
changing the world.
Yeah, I liked it because, a lot of stories they finish, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like, okay, now the quote unquote, so it was hard, right? But that was the easy part, right? You had a bad guy, you had to defeat him, and now it's time to unfuck everything the guy did, right? And to try to bring back a sense of, normalcy and everything. So I find it impressive that they were able to do that. That well, attempted. I'm not saying that they were perfect on it, but so I like that they talked about it a lot. They mentioned it, that there was something quite it was a pretty big point in the whole series, right? Like that Aang and stuff. He was the number one person who created, the first villain, if I remember correctly, right? It's because pretty much of him, and the way the city was built, and so I think they did not a well. I think they did a great job integrating Aang in it, even if it wasn't his story.
Exactly. I think Jackie will say the exact same thing. So prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and it's interesting also because you see Aang in flashback, and you see him in spirit, the spirit connection that he has with Korra, but I found it very uh I don't want to. Yeah, I'm going to say interesting again, but it's just. I really appreciate that you could hear about Aang and his family from the point of view of his children, and how even though he worked a lot to rebuild the world and to work with Fire Lord Zuko to make things right, that he was not the great father that we would have expected him to be.
The perfect dad.
Because
Yep.
yeah, he's not the perfect dad. He clearly had a favorite son, and the two other children were kind of left
Left.
aside.
Yep.
Yeah. So and it's the same thing for tough kids. Tough kids.
Hmm.
They have family issues, and it gives depth into the characters, because you see, we've grown up with the characters from the last Airbender, but they were still children, and it's nice to see that they became adults, but they had the same struggles as the other people. They were not perfect parents. they were not perfect people, and they encountered problems of their own.
Very well said. Like, I have nothing to add to that. The fact that they showed Aang as an adult, as a dad, as a father, and not as a child that we knew of was a shock to me, to be honest. I was not expecting such character growth and development and still makes sense. Like, I was like, yeah, this is the Aang I know of. I don't know if you felt it, you guys, also?
Mm-hmm.
There was not a big surprise on how Aang became, to me at least. And pretty much the same thing for Katara. Katara is exactly like I would have imagined her to be. Zuko, the fact that he resembles now more of his uncle, that also is not surprising to me either.
Yeah, that was a nice touch too. Yeah.
Not only physically, right? He takes a lot of the humor. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the scene in the elevator to check upon the Zahir allies that were in prison. And he was like, yeah,
Yeah.
there was this time that I hired an assassin that had those powers to kill to kill Avatar Aang. And then a big silence. Then he's like, yeah, that was before. It killed me, bro. I was like, this is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I have a question for you guys. So now we know that there is gonna be a future, right? I think that's pretty much clear, right? That it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
There. Where do you guys want it to go now? What's the next step?
In the Avatar universe?
Yeah.
Bruh. After having
Hopefully
someone...
they keep it different avatars every new show, right? Hopefully that's what they do.
Like,
I
see
think
what you
so.
mean. Like, main avatar. Because, we had Aang in Korra, but he was not the main focus. And dead, of course.
True that.
So...
Yeah, but I don't think Kylie is going to be able to handle a new avatar with all that technology, because if you add that much in Korra, the next one is going to be like fucking spaceships and lightsabers.
I do wonder how they'll work that out with the evolution of technology, because it is an interesting, it is an important point to consider when you want to build the world of Avatar, right? You don't want to make it too modern. You want to keep it somewhat. What's the right word here? You want to keep it somewhat traditional, right? I guess.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Because it would defeat the purpose of the kung fu and the bending. And,
The martial arts aspects.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Exactly.
But I would not be against a prequel. Like, we know that
No, me
many
neither.
avatars existed
Yeah.
before.
That was my question. Do you think that they should go back into the past, tell another story, or continue like the one right after Korra? Should they go back 100 years? Should they go back to an avatar that we've already met? Like the girl with the fucking fan, or the fire dude before, or the monk girl. Like, what's the next step?
I think they could make something tragic by killing off Korra young, like not much after the end of the Legend of Korra, so that the next avatar is not born into a time of advanced technology and lightsabers, and space travel. That could be something they could do, but I think
Yeah, I was pushing it with the space travel and everything, but you could imagine like today's technology, with planes and.
But that could be interesting.
cars.
No, that
It
could still
could.
be interesting.
It could.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be sold on that idea. But if some people can make it, it's the two original creators. I have full trust in them.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I do not know. Like, I am a fan of the saying that the fans don't know what they actually want.
Mm.
So
I'll agree with that. I don't know what I want from Avatar.
So what I want for this new project to happen is that the original two creators have full creative freedom and actual inspiration. Like they want to tell an actual story, not just, create something for the sake of selling it.
Yeah, and not even for the fans. I think they don't have to think about the fans. Like you said, I think they should have total uh, liberty and choosing the themes, the characters, the setting, and everything, because this is what worked for the last Airbender. This is what worked for Korra in the end. It's that that new stuff. Because of course, when Korra ended, and when I rewatched it, I was always thinking I would like to see it go further, because to me it didn't end on a proper note. But now that it's been, I don't know how many years, I think it's maybe time for something new.
I think you got
Whatever
your
the
answer,
story
Kyle.
is. Yeah.
I'm good with that.
But you didn't answer yourself. What would you like?
I haven't really thought about that. I'd put how you call it? Fuck, I don't know. I honestly think that I would like them to go into the past, discover a completely different story. Even they can make it on a smaller scale. I don't think that would be a bad idea for them to, for example, take the, I don't know, whatever you
Oh,
pick there.
you wouldn't pick an avatar. You would just go back in a period of time.
I think I would still stay with the avatar. I think that's the most interesting part, right? It's a role that I think that I would love for them to continue exploring, right? However, I think I would like to them go to, for example, in the past. I think maybe like a earth or fire avatar. I think that could be interesting. We had air, we had water.
Water.
One. Something maybe. When I'm saying smaller scale, I'm saying like it doesn't have to be end of the world, fucking big robots and.
But that's the avatar, though. The balance of the
know.
world,
I know, but I still think it could be on a smaller scale where it's like, I would like actually them to go back to an avatar that doesn't know, or maybe what, an avatar that is more he's in control of his four
Elements.
elements, and he's experienced, and more like a Avatar Aang later on there. See that I wouldn't like actually. I don't want them to go back to that period. I think Aang's story is finished. They don't need more to explain about him there.
I'm also satisfied with Aang's story.
I don't know what I want. Like I think that is a good fucking answer that you guys came up with there. That I don't know what I want. I want something different. I want something not different. I want something that is familiar, but that they can say something new with it.
Mm-hmm.
I want amazing ass fights, amazing ass animations. Again, please, whenever you guys want.
Shoutouts to Korea, man.
Yeah, they're insane.
Studio Mir, I think.
I think so too.
What did I want to say about everything? Yeah, I wanted to talk about metal bending. Jackie and we read through part of the Avatar comic books. I call it the Avatar manga, but technically it's not a manga. So the Avatar
Ain't Japanese. Ain't a manga.
the Avatar comic books tell the tale of Aang and his friends after the main series. And as we saw, Toph made a school that taught metal bending. And that was crazy to me. I was like, yo, that means many people can learn this. It's not Toph specific. because like that was the special thing about metal bending. It was her discovery. It was a world's first, never seen before. So we were like, personally, I didn't know anything about Korra, so I knew that Toph started all that. But when I saw Su Yin's city and how it developed and how many metal benders there were, and what was her name? The older sister, the general at the police.
Paul?
Mm,
The what? What
uh,
older sister?
you know, Su Yin has
Lin?
another sister, Lin Beifong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lin and her squad that all knew how to metal bend and their suit, and then the last the last antagonist, Kuvira, and the way they built the train and everything. And I was really surprised how far they took metal bending in the span of Aang's adulthood, if you see what I mean. Like, I was very impressed, and it made a lot of sense. And with the technological progress and everything, I thought it was so well written. Like, in terms of world building and making sense of everything, I was super impressed. I don't know if you guys had that feeling too.
Well, it just gives this organic feeling of the whole world, that everything comes together, and that obviously some people are going to learn metal bending and they're going to utilize it for different things. So it feels natural, and it feels, as you say, satisfying. Yeah.
Like, out of 10, I think it's a 10, bro. I don't know how they could have done it better.
I don't know. I've never really thought about it too much. I was like, yeah, of course it makes sense, and this is why it's so great. It's that you didn't even think about it, because it makes so much sense that you just you glance over it and you're thinking, yeah, that is the logical order of things.
Exactly, bro. That's how you recognize a 10.
I mean, it's like Mako that is working in this factory where he's using electricity. What's it called?
Genius!
Lightning. Yeah, to provide electricity. To me, I looked at it, was like, oh, that's nice, but to me it makes sense. Again, it's just like, yeah, of course it makes sense, because you're a firebender, you have this power, of course you use it to make it, to convert it into electricity.
But it was a dangerous technique. Not many people knew how to do it. It was like
Yeah,
elite
yeah,
fire
exactly.
bending.
Hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
well, we live in a society where people do some like jobs with it, like regular people.
Yeah, well, it's no, it's like technology nowadays. Somebody has the idea to come up with a different technology, and then somebody else is going to be able to do a better version of it or a similar version of it, and then it just spreads.
Yeah. Not only that, it's like it becomes easier also.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the fact that I don't know, it becomes more and more available. More, it's we call it maybe de in French we say démocratisation. I don't know if
yeah,
there's a word in it for the English language, but it becomes more available for the people. You know,
yeah, exactly.
it's not a thing for the elite anymore.
Hmm.
So, anything else? Mako Bolin? I think that those brothers are amazing. Like, I really
Big
enjoyed.
shout out to that relationship. Yeah, really enjoyed it. All over, from the start until the end, this relationship was well built. um, there's this small love triangle in the first season, and then there's the dynamic of the brothers, that they don't get along with the with the who's having Korra and everything.
Yeah,
And in the second season, there is Bowling kind of becoming a star, while what's
getting
his name,
married
Mako,
against
is.
his will.
So yeah, that was pretty fun. Also, season three, I don't remember what's the dynamic of their relationship. I think they're working together, so it's fine. But in season four, I really like the development of their relationship, because there's bowling, Bolin that is working now for Kuvira, and there's this famous gif of Mako when Bolin comes up at him and he's like, Kuvira, she's basically like Korra, and the face that he makes is it's very funny.
I wish I remembered.
So
You will have to send that gift to me.
yeah, I'll have to send it. But yeah, I really liked the final the final part of the relationship where they are working for two different sides because Mako becomes the bodyguard of the new king that doesn't stay king for too long, and Bolin is working for Kuvira, so they're inside the conflict and they don't get along. But in the end, they come up together and they are the ones that turn off the freaking big robot.
Yeah.
By
The
working
power of the two brothers. It was beautiful. They made them have
Yeah.
opposite camps. Like they had the sides that were really opposing, and made something cool out of it. It wasn't too formulaic. I think it was pretty well done. I didn't feel like I was being told some story I already heard. Because in the end, they
Yeah.
didn't kill each other, that felt good, to be honest. That felt really good. I'm tired of these stories, man. I'm like, bro, why can't we have Marco Bolin, man? And I'm glad we had Marco Bolin.
Maybe they will. Maybe the next show is not gonna be Avatar orientated, but just Mako Bolin. Mako Bolin
Comedy.
series. Yeah.
Okay, I see the gift now. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was really good. So, if you guys want to know, we've been going on for about an hour and 50 minutes. If you have something major you want to talk about, or we should go straight into the closing
No,
statements.
I think we've talked about most of what there was to talk about. I think that we'll be able to. I think having maybe an episode about the how you call it
The Last Airbender.
would be cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. There is going to be a Avatar: The Last Airbender episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the game, the Legend of Korra video game.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Oh,
even
no.
want that.
I
That's-
played it, bro, and I beat it, and it wasn't really good, bro. I'm so sad.
I
Yeah,
told
big
you.
surprise
I told
there.
you.
Yo, Kyle
I
told
played-
me.
I played an hour of it there, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. It was just the hell in hell. I think I played Devil May Cry over again and again before playing that. Shit
Way
game.
better game, Devil May Cry, of course. But I mastered the advanced techniques of Korra. It felt very, very repetitive. That's the problem with Korra. The freedom
Yeah.
is not there, sadly. And the enemy types are way too similar and recycled. But at least you have cutscenes that are done in the style of the usual studio, and the returning voice actors. And the best part of the game would be at the very end, when the credits roll, every voice actor, like the main cast, says thank you for playing the game. And I was hearing Korra's voice actor, Mako's voice actor, Boleyn's voice actor, what's his name, the commentator for Pro Bending, his voice
Yeah.
actor, everybody. And I was like, bro, this is so amazing that they brought the gang back just to make this stupid game that is not really good, but it has some value. The Pro Bending mode is really fun. It's a mini game that
No, I remember playing that there. I played more than, but it sucks because I think the series lends itself to such a good ass.
phenomenal action game, of course.
Yeah, and like imagine they did a game where it was a RPG where you pick your bender and you customize him and
Oh, okay. Like be your own hero. I was more in the line of thinking playing as Korra or Aang, you know.
that shit. I think it would be so cool to have that. You create yourself, then you you're not you're not a avatar, right? You're a plain ass bender. You pick which one you want to be, airbender, firebender, whatnot, and each one has, you're weak against this one and weak strong against that, blah blah blah, and if, for example, earthbender, right? If you grind a lot, you can become a metal bender or some shit like that. I
Yeah,
think
that
that
would
would.
be a cool progression tree and it would be very fun, of course. I can see it. Like you say, the the elements are there, man. Someone has to make that game.
But we'll see there maybe one day. But
I think Platinum Games, with the budget they had, did a decent job at letting you control all the elements. It was pretty fun, and I learned a couple of combos switching from every style and everything. And yeah, even though the game was not really good, there was some fun to be had. So I wouldn't recommend you guys to play the game for money, but for free and you have time, I would recommend it.
if you have nothing else better to do.
So yeah, I think closing statements. Let's start with Kyle.
Again, I still think I prefer, at the end of the day, Last Airbender. However, I think that especially the fight scenes I find in Korra are out of this world, and I think even the story is it when you watch it a second time, I think that's when you appreciate it more, because first time you're like, well, why is this not Aang, right? You're a bit like I like Aang and Sokka and Katara so much. Why is it not them, right? So you battle a bit with that first in your first viewing, especially when you were younger. And I think while rewatching it, I learned to like it more and than the first time. So I think it's, if anybody hasn't not seen it, go right away to watch it. I think it's a must, especially if you liked Avatar: The Last Airbender. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now my turn. Let's go like from left to right, and then it's gonna be Alex. So just so you know, bro. I would say that in terms of standing, The Legend of Korra is not far away from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's very, very good. And as I said in private, I think The Last Airbender should be shown in school. Pretty much. It should be part of the program.
Amen to that.
It should be part of the program, not only for the life lessons it gives and all, but for the everything, like the good times and the art. I believe the Legend of Korra demonstrated well, even with the use of 3D. It was done in a tasteful way, not too used except for when there was a lot of mechs. But the hand-drawn animation, like Kyle said, those fight scenes, those movements, and the way they associated each bending with a style of martial arts and the kind of movement and the translation into the power, right? It's so beautiful. Like, you can go frame per frame on most episodes and be mind blown. Not even most episodes, every episode. I don't think I have ever seen a miss. It's that good. So I would definitely recommend you guys to watch both of them. But as a person that watched them in adulthood, I do not think there is any problem in terms of holding up when you grow older. I would say that it gets even better because you can understand more. Now, to you, Alex.
personally, I feel like I connect more with Legend of Korra than I do now with Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know why it is, but as I said earlier, I think the humor doesn't stick well with me for Avatar: The Last Airbender. But for Legend of Korra, I think it's just because it's an updated story, right?
Yeah.
I guess in some ways it's an updated story, so I think that's why I connect more with it. And I do see its flaws. That's not. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't any flaws compared to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I do see why The Last Airbender is more beloved than Legend of Korra. But still, I to this day I still can't change my opinions on Legend of Korra. So yeah.
Thanks for your thoughts. Now to Jackie.
Yeah, I mean, the haters kept me from seeing it sooner, but the first time that I watched it, I knew that this show would be special, and it still is special. Of course, like you guys, I think the Avatar: The Last Airbender remains the best of the two, and maybe for me, it's still the best show that I've ever seen. As an animated series. But The Legend of Korra isn't far behind. Maybe it's in the top three. It's not. It's not that far behind. It's such a great show, and I've trashed the ending a lot, but it's really worth watching. And if you're going in, you're in for a great ride because the characters, the story, and what it has to tell is just magnificent and deserves to be told. So it was the homework. You had to watch it, but if you haven't, we definitely recommend that you see The Legend of Korra.
Thanks, everybody. I think we can end it on the next homework. Who was it?
So I think it was Jackie's, but I talked to him about a homework and he jumped on the opportunity to watch it, and because that was gonna be my next one, and I think he was excited, so he let me go for for this one, and
Okay.
then after that, I guess he'll retake his role.
Yeah.
So my homework, I'll just give you a bit of a little how I fell upon it. It's on Netflix, and it's called Love, Death plus Robots.
Oh
I don't
my
know.
god.
Do you know what that is?
I have no idea, but it seems worthwhile.
So what it is it's an animated series, right? So there's a whole season and there's 18 episodes. But I know before people start going like, well, holy shit, I can't watch that in a whole week. It's short episodes. They're self-contained, right? So every episode talks about something completely different, and it sometimes has completely different animation styles, and it's short stories. So there's some episodes that are about 17 minutes long, some are 5-6 minutes long. So
Interesting.
it's really, really diverse. If ever you guys know who David Fincher is, he's a big director. He did stuff like what is it, Zodiac, Seven, Fight Club, and
Not Fight Club.
yeah, and well, I think Jackie doesn't like that one, if I remember correctly.
We'll talk about it another time. I think.
But the Social Network, that was another one of his. Aliens 3.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I do too. And but anyways, he's a big director, and he decided to produce that show. So yeah, I'm excited for you. In all, it takes 3 hours to watch every single episode.
Wow, okay. So it's not what we might have thought when you said 18 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Yeah,
movie
no,
size.
honestly, yeah. Honestly, if you skip like the credits and maybe like the intro, I think it's pretty short. And knowing you, Momo, I think in one day you'll be done with it. So you'll
Yeah.
have time to watch it twice. And it's I don't know if you remember what Kyle said, but he was like, in private, he was like, it's going to be an episode like the podcast episode is going to be a bit like that Daft Punk episode in the sense that
Yes.
every song like we could discuss about it, and I think it's going to be the same with this one. We're going to be able to discuss about every episode of the animated series because they're all different. They're all independent.
No ties between them.
None.
Okay.
Yeah.
None. It's like I said, short stories, and
Can you repeat the name?
it's Love, Death plus Robot.
You guys heard it.
And season 2 is coming up next week or the week after that. So excited for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, also I can announce like we guys we've been watching Invincible, and now that it's finished, we have to find a new show. But we're going to do a watch along for the second season when you guys will be done with the first one.
Perfect. I am very eager to see this. And as you know, I have a particular sleep schedule, so in between midnight and 4 a.m., I think I can easily finish those 18 episodes.
Absolutely. And if ever you want to do that, try to rank them. Like,
Okay. Like give them a score and then rank them.
Yeah, so I was able to separate because, of course, there's some. It's not a surprise there. There's some that are excellent and some that are
Less good.
less good. Right? It comes with I don't. Anyways, we'll talk about it during the episode there. But I rank them, and again, like Daft Punk, the album. I wrote a bit about it to remember a bit what it was talking about. So for a discussion.
Great structure. I'm glad you brought it up in that Daft Punk episode. It followed us in the Devil May Cry kinda episode, but it's gonna be very useful for this next homework. And until then, my friends, I wish you guys good health, to eat well, to sleep well, and see you next time on the Container Podcast. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.